Hey, well, I'm always amazed at how much people disagree with what they're seeing and think that it should change according to them. But I'm in the middle of a little walk around in the project that we have, which I call our 5-year dream project. It's for an inland resort, which we think will go well in the area. Of course, we could be wrong, and we could be very right. But I'll let you see what I'm looking at as I walk around the house before I go outside and see the place from a viewpoint that you haven't seen before. Well, this of course would be the outside. In Filipino culture, it seems to me, as an outsider, that people don't get invited into the house. They have a seated area outside. So we made this patio, which is covered in patio, if you like, or shelter or seated area. And we have a table and chairs there, and people can be entertained there. And then coming in, so this is our house that we actually live in. You can see, fairly self-explanatory, that that's the kitchen. Nothing is done to perfection, and when you're in the Philippines you have to accept that. But in the main, we're very, very happy with living here. And while people do, I suppose with some justification, say that the house is too big, well, we lived in a house that was only 25 feet long by 13. So I think that we can adjust to having a bigger house for a change. And so this is really the master bedroom. But we got so used to being in the smaller bedroom until all of this work was done that we just kind of stayed there. So this is where I would come early morning. I usually try to get up around 5, and I come in, and here's my little exercise mat. I stick that down on the floor. It works out bigger than that, of course. And I do my exercise in here, and I'm able to go in to the bathroom and do everything early morning without being interrupted. I always think that this is a very pleasant time of the day. This is the afternoon, and the sun comes shining through those big windows, and it's minimally furnished because that's what we can afford, like most people. Don't know why it should be viewed differently than that people move into a place and it's not as they would really like it for a while, and they live with that. This is my little work area. I come in here and I have everything done. The stuff that I do, I kind of try to do on a budget. I got some 2-gallon or gallon holders, little jugs, and I cut the top off and I made them into a light. And of course, this is where I do my stuff, and I make my puppets and things like that, and do some sketch work. As you can see here, I have to warn people, you know, Beth might come in here and think that she can go and tear a page off my sketch pad, and that's not what you do. But all of my favorite books are in here, and that's where I do some of the videos. Now, one of the things that a foreigner finds very hard to get used to, or I should unplug my designer lighting. One of the things that foreigners have difficulty in getting used to is the idea of having locked doors in a home. In the Philippines, it's not unusual. It's not unusual to have a lock on the refrigerator because of the way that things are. So I'm going to take you outside now, and we'll go and have a look at the place from the outside. So That's the little Sour store that's built. It's not ours, of course. They built that on the corner, that's their land. And this is the view from the main road. If you were coming to spend some time here, this is the road that you would take. Let me show you down there. As you can see, that's a nice cement road and goes quite a way up there past us. But this is the house. This part here will be taken down and extended out level, and then taken down and put into the garage, which I'll show you in a moment. But that's the house. And the wall, which of course will have to be quite a lot of work done on that, has to have a horizontal pillar that goes on the top, which brings it all together, strengthens and things. So there's the resort itself. And right at the back there you can see what will eventually become a little coffee bar area. But the property goes right up. You can see the wall there. That's the edge of our property, and that in the future at some time that would be the entrance. You can see that red shed which just contains materials at the moment. All of that of course will come down, and the entrance will be there with whatever guard needs to be there in order to safeguard entrance. And then at the back here, that would be a pool area, so that when we do open this part of the resort, which is just the accommodation, there are 6 rooms there, and they have balconies, and they look out on a very, very nice view. In fact, even from here I think you can just about squeak a view of the ocean. Now when we open that end and do that part of that will be for the house only. This gate will only be for deliveries. We'll close it up. That will be a sliding gate up there on a remote. And quite a bit of areas and landscaping to be done here. There'll be a driveway that goes down and into the garage, and all of this will have to be reinforced because the level has appeared quite a lot lower. It doesn't flood, but we do plan on having French drains come along and go out and take the water out there. These areas are all lit and very nicely and look really nice. This of course is going to be a roadway that takes us down to the end and to what will be the pool area. So some of it is unplanned, still in the brainstorming stage. This of course is a work in progress. For the electrical lines which have to be put underneath. At the moment, Filipino style, it just goes over like that. There's something that's difficult to live with. What I find as a foreigner is that unless you want to make life into a real nightmare for yourself, you'll find a way to let go and live with the way that things are done here, because you are a foreigner by definition and you will be bucking things all the time. I know as a contractor from the US and from my time in the UK, I know that things are done very differently here, and it's something that you have to live with. When the house is actually functioning separately to the resort, like this is part of the resort here, what we're standing in now, there will be a little place here where you can have coffee and some sort of like quick noodles, stuff like that, a very light breakfast. You'll be able to sit here and look out over there. And this wall here is a retaining wall for this area at the back of the house, and in some wonderful future that we are presently unable to finance, but we live in hope of, there will be a smaller pool here because Beth just loves to be in the water. So this marks what we are calling, right up the back of the balconies here, we're calling this stage 1. So stage 1 will include this as the coffee bar, the balconies in, and that building functioning, bringing in income, and the pool will be at the back for use of here. So we will be able to get into producing income. That's obviously the intention. So that will be the drive. Obviously there's a big support wall that needs to go in here. So some of this stuff that I'm showing to you is actually quite big as a project. So all of this, you see that there's all heaped earth here. It's all gone wild. Well, things grow very, very quickly here. There's the septic tank for the big building, and all of this here will be landscaped and into a pool, and that pool will be open sometime to the public, but mostly it will be for these the people who rent these rooms. That's the idea, but the way that it may unfold could be quite different. That's why we remain open both to suggestions and to ideas. Each of these pillars, for this room here, it would be 2 pillars, and then 1 pillar distance would be the actual balcony for this room. Again, the balcony for this room here, and then the end one, quite a large balcony there. So we go off down there. At some point, as I say, it's a 5-year project for me, a 5-year dream project, and all of this is belonging to calling the resort. And so we're planning quite a large area down there for a large swimming pool and recreational area. So how we fill that is still under suggestion. It's still under planning, even though for the entire project up into there, you can see part of the wall, and it goes right along and down, and it goes right out to there. You can actually see a rooftop right at the end of my finger, I think, and that's roof is just the other side of our property line. So up on that hill is, in the blueprint, is a group of chalets that would be for longer let or shorter let, depend on what is needed. The Taliban area, we are about 6 or 8 kilometers from Etafi, which is destined to be quite a large port eventually. And Taliban is much closer to being a large port now. Both of those, both Etafi, which is about 6 to 8 kilometers away, and Taliban, which is about 18 to 20 kilometers away, both of these are already ports with ferry services and are growing fast. So this whole area is destined for great growth and development. The infrastructure is going to be transformed. Whenever I go into Taliban, I'm always struck by the amount of building that is going on. And big companies are coming in. Suzuki have built a huge building, two-story building, and they've invested a great deal of money in what at the time seemed like a small town. And now, with the development of the port area, it's evidently more than a small town in its future. So we'll see what happens, but somebody somewhere knows a great deal about its future and is investing on the basis of that knowledge. So that's my little walk around. This part here we are going to concrete, and we're going to landscape it with potted plants and astroturf onto the concrete, so it will be broken up. It won't just be a huge expanse of concrete. One subscriber said, "Oh, don't do any more concreting if you're selling," and well, we'll sell. We're like anybody else, you know. If you were driving a car which you had paid, well, supposing you were driving a car which you had paid $5,000 for, and somebody came and said, "Oh, I love that car, I'll give you $10,000, you would say, "Sign here." And then you would go out and you'd buy yourself another similar car for $5,000, and you would have $5,000 in your pocket. Well, if somebody came and offered the right money for all of this, of course, everything is for sale. And then someone said, "Well, yes, but what would you do then?" Believe me, there's a lot of things to do in this world, and it's all just waiting for you to seize it and have an adventure. Like this is our present adventure. I love it. So if you've enjoyed this, comment please. Always interested in your comments. As long as you know how to be polite. We've invited you into our home, and if you behave like a guest, then we would love to hear from you. Okay, so subscribe and like and comment. Bye for now.